We're going to start our program now, and we are so excited to have our friends from the Vancouver Art Gallery with us. We have Erica and Christina, and we're going to be looking at some special work from an artist from Nunavut in the community of Cape Dorset. And we're going to meet Shuvinai Ashoona, and she is an incredibly talented, imaginative, innovative artist who comes from Nunavut. So I'm going to turn it over to Christina. I'm going to stop sharing my mic and my camera and turn it over to Erica and Christina, and we're going to learn along. And Christina and Erica, know that you guys are awesome in the chat. So when Christina gives you that prompt, if you could please type in the chat, Katie's going to be copying it right over so that they can see. But as we said, these students are extremely competent and conversive and imaginative and wonderful. So I hope that you're going to have as good of a time with them as we do every day. So turning it over to you in Vancouver.
Thank you, Molly. And thank you everybody for joining us. It's so cool to hear that you're so excited and enthusiastic and used to using technology like this. So we've been introduced, you know that I'm Christina and this is Erica. And I know that Owen, Gabby, Elena, Jane, Alice, Melissa, and Susan and Erin are here with us today. So to introduce myself, I work with families at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and Eric and I have this very cool job. We get to look at artworks with families, we get to talk about them so we can learn more together. We get to learn very interesting and wonderful things about the incredible lives of artists. So we're going to get some ideas and creative energy today by looking closely at some amazing artworks. We're going to use our imaginations to create our own stories about the artworks, and then I'm going to show you some ideas about how you can make your own artwork inspired by what you see. Sound good? Like Molly said, today I'm so excited to introduce you to the artist Shuvinai Ashoona. She pulls us into a world of imagination and stories as we look at her artworks. And to look at Ashoona's work is to discover. And the longer you look, the more you see. There's always things hiding. No matter how many times I look at one of her drawings, I still always see something new. Yes, Gabby is ready to go, she says. So Shuvinai Ashoona, she combines her imagination, real animals, her environment, places she lives, and creatures from movies and TV, all together to tell fantastical stories by drawing them. And sometimes she tells stories within stories by drawing pictures within pictures. So my question to you is, who is ready to enter the world of Shuvinai Ashoona? Okay, I think we're ready. Erica, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So first I want to show you where Shuvinai Ashoona lives and works. So Molly mentioned that Shuvinai Ashoona lives in Nunavut in a place called Cape Dorset. The indigenous name for Cape Dorset is Kingate. So that's what I'll be calling it. We'll talk a little bit more about what indigenous means in a little while. So she was born in this place called Kingate, and it's way, way, way up north in the Arctic. And it's so cold there that Ashoona, she uses pencil crayons to create art because her paints would freeze. So Kingate is a town surrounded by tundra. Can you see what we're looking at here? Tundra is a snow-covered area of land like the Arctic. And it's so cold there that trees can't even grow. Often, Shuvinai Ashoona, she creates backgrounds in her artworks that are inspired by this rocky tundra. And Shuvinai Ashoona is Inuit, or we could say an Inuk person. Inuit have lived in the Arctic for over 4,000 years. Inuit are indigenous people. Kingate, like I said, Kingate is the indigenous name for Cape Dorset. You might have heard Cape Dorset before. Do you know what indigenous means? All right, well, you know what? It means, let's see. We'll give you a little minute here. You don't know what it means. So Jane and Alex said no. That's right. You know what? I learned so much about looking at artists about what indigenous means. It means the first people that ever lived in Canada. And we're going to look at some of Shuvinai Ashoona's artwork to learn more about her incredible imagination and how she's inspired by where she lives, as well as her Inuit culture. And Gabby said, Indigenous means First Nations. And you're absolutely right. The first people that lived in Canada. And we're also going to talk about one of the most important Inuit beliefs is that everything in the universe is connected. We will see how Ashoona shows us this knowledge and belief that everything is connected in her artworks. All right. Do you want to play a game? It's a memory game. I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds. Yes, we got a big yes here from Elena. We're going to set a timer for 30 seconds. We're going to look very carefully at the first Shuvinai Ashoona artwork that we're going to. I want you to look in every corner of the drawing. Look up and down and all around. And while you're looking, you can think about who are the characters in this drawing, what are they doing, and how are they connected to each other? Okay, when I say go, Erica's going to put the picture on the screen. Yes, Gabby is ready and excited. Erin is ready and excited. Okay, are you ready, Erica?
Yes.
Go. 30 seconds, everybody. All around every corner. Think about who are those characters? What are they doing? How are they connected? Aaron sees a man. Just one. Jane and Alice, they're saying they see tentacles. Okay, so that was 30 seconds.
That was
Because
fast.
he saw something. Now what we're going to do without looking at the picture, try and remember back. We said some of the things out loud already. Now try and list some of the things that you remember. Elena says she saw two men. And Gabriella just joined us as well. Hi, Gabriella. Gabby Griffith says a picture. Yeah, we see a picture, definitely. Remember I said Shuvinai Ashoona sometimes draws pictures within her pictures. Owen says an octopus. And Jane and Alice said, I'm seeing worlds that look like Earth in a circle. Elena says an octopus as well. Something else I remember seeing those worlds, articles too, a globe. Does everybody know what a globe is? It's like what the Earth would look like if you looked at it from space. A crab. Interesting. Someone saw a crab as well. Eric, anything that you remember? Yeah. Yeah, what do you think?
I remember there was a feet underneath the tentacles.
Oh, does anybody else remember that there were feet underneath the tentacles? I forgot about that part. You saw feet too. Gabriella says she saw feet too. Yes, Erin remembers too. Should we take a look at the artwork again to see if we see anything more? Okay, take a look again. Anything else that we forgot? What's something that you forgot? We looked and now we look again and we see more. I'm going to tell you something that I didn't notice the first time that I looked. It's that, yeah, we saw lots of globes. Gabriella said she noticed a painting that she didn't notice before. And Jane and Alice, I was going to just say this exact thing. Jane and Alice said the worlds are claws. And what else? Gabby said a scorpion tail and circle shapes. So I also was going to say, I didn't notice that the worlds were shaped almost lined up like an arm and then into fingers and just like claws. So that's great that we got to look again together. So do you remember, we're going to talk now about how Shuvinai Ashoona makes her artwork. Do you remember that what materials Shuvinai Ashoona likes to use to make her drawings? Susan said she noticed blue toenail polish, which I also didn't notice. Well, if you remember back to what I said at the beginning, Shuvinai Ashoona uses, there's more. The books in the head. Oh, in the head, like if the globe was the head, is that what you mean, Elena? I see some rectangles in that globe too, and it does kind of look like a head. Oh, wow. I wonder if we could zoom in to see even more about what those are. They just look like square shapes. Erica can zoom in a little bit. They do look like books. And now actually, I'm noticing what look like some animals, maybe even. Here. Yeah, I didn't see that before. Did anyone else see that? Could be a fox, or it could be a, what do you think it could be, Erica? Tiny little animal.
Cat.
Kind of like a cat. I also see what looks like antlers. I'm glad you asked us to zoom in a little bit more. Looks like a cat, Gabby thinks. Aha. So if we look up close, we can also see kind of the marks of what she's using to create. And she's using pencil crayons. That's what we're going to use later on when we start to create an art, when we think about how Shuvinai Ashoona is creating her artwork. So do you want to see a picture? Oh, and Jane and Alice also say they see a dog, money, bills, and shapes. Do you want to see how she draws? Let's take a look at a picture. So what do you notice about the way Shuvinai Ashoona is drawing? Anyone else use their body this way to create a drawing before? Gabby says she's on her belly, of course. And you know what? This is also a great way to see how she draws. She likes to lay on her belly on her table. Sometimes she even likes to wear high heels when she's drawing. And oh, okay. And Gabby's saying it's really big. And you're absolutely right. We couldn't tell how big it was in that last picture we looked at. But now we see that the drawings are even bigger than Shuvinai Ashoona. So it's to lay on her belly to reach all the different corners of her really, really large paper. So Shuvinai Ashoona, she said once that this pencil just draws. So she doesn't sketch out or plan what her artwork will look like. She just draws and draws what pours out of her imagination and memory right onto the paper. Do you want to see another Shuvinai Ashoona artwork? We're going to take a look. Yes, we got a big yes from Gabby again. We're going to take a look, and we are going to play a seeking game. We're going to look really closely again at this artwork, just like we did at that first one. And I'm going to give you some clues of what to look for. Erica and I are going to play too. And we're going to think about, okay, when we look at this artwork, who are the characters? What are they doing? And how are they all connected? So we're going to play our seeking game, and then we're going to kind of unpack it, figure out what's going on here and how does this artwork relate to Shuvinai Ashoona's cultural heritage. Have you ever heard that word, cultural heritage? It just means something that's passed down to you when you were born. So stories, ways of living, eating, playing, and learning, we all come from different places, and we all have our own cultural heritage. So we know that Shuvinai Ashoona has Inuit cultural heritage. All right. Shall we go to our seeking game? All right, let's check out the artwork. Can everybody see? Here are the clues. Number 1, find an animal that you recognize. Take a minute. Gabriella notices a walrus. What does everybody else think? Gabby Griffith said walrus. Jane and Al, everybody's noticing the walrus. Aha, Gabby also noticed some fish. I didn't notice the fish right away. Erica, can you show us where the fish are?
Do you mean like here?
Aha, is that what you meant, Gabby? There's some fish right there. I wonder if there's any more. Okay, that's what she meant. Susan said she noticed a snake, something that looks like it's from real life, is like a snake. Aaron also noticed some fish. I wonder if we noticed different fish than the ones I noticed.
There's another one here right beside.
Aha! Good find, Aaron. Okay. And next question. Find something. Oh, a foot snake in the top right corner, Gabriella Spencer saying as well. Aha, now I look in that top right corner and I see a snake as well. So she hasn't just shown us one snake. And you know what? These snakes don't look exactly like they look when you see a snake in nature, do they? She's used her imagination. So now let's look for something that looks like it's totally from Shuvinai Ashoona's imagination or from another world. Take a minute. Looks like something you've never seen before.
Oh, can I show you what I found?
Please do, Erica.
I found here. It's like, I don't know whether it's a pig or a bear, but it's like pig-faced snake.
Aha! It kind of looks like this one's hard to see, right? Because it's brown against a brown background. But now that Erica circled it, we kind of see. You said it looked like kind of like a pig or a bear snake, Erica? So it's a lot of different things coming together. So we have snakes in real life, we have bears or pigs, but Shuvinai Ashoona, she's combined them all together. We could also call this a hybrid. When things come together, we can say it's a hybrid of things coming together. Now that one looked like it was really hiding. Does anyone else see something? Gabby Griffiths sees, oh, well, first we'll look at Jane and Alice, a humongous spider in the corner. Do you see that one, Erica?
Is that this
I
one?
didn't see it at first either. Is that the one you were talking about, Jane and Alice? Yes. And Elena has seen a pink plant thing. Interesting. Do you see, is it one of those, Elena? And Jane and Alice, was somebody said a foot snake before. Jane and Alice now are saying a hand snake too. Anything that looks like a hand snake. I think I know what you mean. Aha, it looks like kind of like a snake, but it's also waving at us. So it reminds us of something from real life, but I've never seen a snake that looks exactly like that in real life. So I know that Shuvinai Ashoona is also using her imagination, isn't she? Now, there's something else happening here. Let's take a look at, we've done some close looking and looked in all the corners and looked for the hidden things, like Erica found that great hidden kind of bear, pig, snake. Is there anything else that somebody found that they want to share with us? You can always keep thinking and keep adding your responses here. You're doing a great job, by the way, everybody. I'm so impressed by how many answers that we're getting. I noticed that at the top left corner, there's some lines. Maybe Erica can highlight where those lines are. Here. Gabby sees a brain thing, and I don't know if Gabby's thinking about the thing that I think's like a brain thing, but it looks like it's on the end of that snake that has all different colored tails. So when we don't even know the name for something, it probably came from Shuvinai Ashoona's imagination. Was that what you were thinking, Gabby, of the brain thing? It has that long colored tail.
Is it this one?
The pink thing. Is it right in the middle of the picture? Aha, we're going to talk about what's right in the middle of the picture in just a second, because you know what? Now we want to think about, okay, how does this picture tell us a little bit about Shuvinai Ashoona? Now let's think about, okay, like our questions are, who are the characters? What are they doing? And how are they all connected? So if we look at the characters, it's kind of what we already noticed. Looks like the main characters, we noticed a lot of imagined characters and creatures. We also have kind of bottom right, Gabby says. Oh, you see that little kid in the bottom right almost hiding too? Who are the characters that really stand out, the main characters? Everyone mentioned a walrus before. But look, there's also two what look like people. Looks like they're wearing coats and jackets. And if we think about, okay, what are these people doing? We have to look closer at the picture. So we see that these people, so Gabrielle is saying she sees the two men. They could be men, it looks like, could be. And if we think about what they're doing, Owen says it looks like they're eating. What does everyone else think? Gabby notices the people. And you know what? Owen is right. So these are two people that are preparing a seal after it's been hunted and they're eating. And Inuit, as many northern cultures, use seals and different animals for many different reasons, for food, for sustenance, and to create warm clothing. Gabby says she also notices cutting. One looks like they're cutting some fish in half. Usually actions involved in when Inuit people or people from northern communities or many communities hunt and fish and use those things that they've lived off the land for food. Let's take a look at one other thing. Let's go back to those lines in the top corner. Thank you for those ideas, Gabby. I'm wondering if anyone can recognize what those lines are. They look familiar in any way. I don't know if you can circle them, Erica, or zoom in. Aha! So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Any guesses what those, they look like ropes, Gabby's saying. Gabriella Spencer said ropes too. What else? Anybody else? String. Yeah, I guess that's the idea. Tatiana said ropes for fishing. Well, guess what? It's all connected, right? We're looking at how is everything connected here. They are ropes that are actually holding up a tent. So when we think about, oh, okay, now we look in the background, we see the tent is kind of an off-white color. It's a little bit hard to see. Now we know that this picture is about camping. It's about hunting and camping. So do you know what? Traditionally, Inuit lived off the land, the natural resources, and Inuit traveled by dog sled to hunt for food and lived in tents. But nowadays, Inuit still live off the land and hunt and fish, but there are also grocery stores and skidoos and trucks and cars for travel and many different kinds of homes in Kinget or Cape Dorset, like we saw in the pictures right at the beginning. But Shuvinai Ashoona, she's not always traditional. But when she was young, she and her sisters would hunt and camp as a family in Kinget. Did you know Kinget means big mountain in Inuk? Shuvinai Ashoona and most people in Kinget speak both English and Inuk. I don't know if you've ever heard about that language before. But do you want to hear Shuvinai Ashoona speaking in Inuk? And she's speaking about how she and her sisters camped with her father when they were little. Gabby thinks it's cool. Elena says, oh yeah? Yes, please. Okay. Let's take a look at Shuvinai Ashoona. Can everyone hear?
You might, Christina, you might need to mute your microphone and yeah, go back.
That's better.
Like far off.
Thank you, Erica, for helping us share that. Has anyone ever heard anyone speaking Inuktitut before? That was the first time I had. Well, no, Gabriella hasn't either. And Jane and Alice and Elena and Owen and Aaron, everybody said no, they hadn't either. So what a cool opportunity that we had. I think this is a great time to look at another one of Shuvinai Ashoona's artworks. What do you think, Erica?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to look at how is Shuvinai Ashoona storytelling with her drawings, and how can we create stories of our own inspired by her work? We're going to think of those questions again. Who are the characters? What are they doing? And how are they all connected? So Shuvinai Ashoona, she uses her imagination to create. So she wants us to use our imaginations to create our own stories when we look at her work. And that is exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to think about our questions, and that's how we create a story, by just looking at one picture. Okay, we're going to take a look at this picture, and Erica and I are going to start a story. We're going to use a prompt. That means something that keeps us going, gives us an idea. We're going to say, and then we're going to go back and forth to tell the story. But when we're done talking, we're going to leave the ending up to you. So I'm going to say, and then, and point to you at the end, and you have to tell the people who are in the room with you the end, your own end of the story too. So it's a way of looking at the artwork closely, but also using your imagination to create a story. And then maybe you can share the title of your story in the chat. Sound good? Shall we tell our story, Erica?
Sure. Okay, here's the picture.
Once upon a time, there was a boy that wanted to go out and play, and he put on his favorite yellow hat and his favorite white coat and red pants, and he walked and walked and walked on the snow, but all of a sudden he tripped. He didn't know what he tripped up on, so he looked up and he looked around, and then
he's surprised. So he grabbed someone else right beside to his left. That person was wearing really big, giant green coat. And then he looked at that person's face. There was two faces. It was a baby. The baby was pointing somewhere. And then
the boy in the yellow hat looked where the baby was pointing, and he saw that what he tripped on was a giant grizzly bear that was lying in the snow. It was so big, it was bigger than 3 people. He started to say, "Excuse me," to the grizzly bear, but then he heard a really loud noise. And then
he found out that noise came from a purple creature. So that the green-coated person actually grabbed the purple creature. That creature had a big, giant blue wings as well. And
the creature, he tried to fly away and he flew around in circles, but he was still connected to the person in the green coat and the person who was grabbing him. So as he tried to fly away, someone else grabbed him. Someone in a gray coat popped up and said, "We're all connected here. We need to stay together." And then the boy in the yellow hat, he looked up in the sky, and all of a sudden, a polar bear fell from the sky and landed right on top of the big giant grizzly bear. And everybody looked up, way up into the sky again, and a seal fell from the sky. And then
they also looked at the sky, and then there was another fish. It's salmon came down too. People were all surprising looking at together, and then
everyone started to wonder what else is going to fall from the sky, and what else are we going to do? And you can go ahead and finish the story. So if you've got a chance to finish your story, you can always use this and then way of telling stories in other ways. You can type in what you would title your story with your ending and share it with us. And by the way, Erica, do you recognize anything in this drawing that was used or repeated in other Shuvinai Ashoona drawings?
Maybe I saw the globes.
We saw the globes again. Here we see one big globe, don't we? I also noticed the shoes that some of the characters that look like people are wearing are brown shoes. They look very similar to other ones we've seen.
Fish?
Oh, we see a fish again. So animals from real life again. When artists repeat images or symbols or patterns over and over, we call that a motif. Does anyone want to share the title of their story? Oh, Gabby shared hers, The Connection. That's so nice, The Connection. So we talked a lot in our story about how we saw that everything is all connected, actually holding hands. Aaron calls his the seal. Gabby Griffiths is the cooler. Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
To hear more about that. And Gabriella Spencer says, my big weird family. So Gabriella is telling us maybe something about her family or something about what she considers as family here as well. Fantastic. So you know what? I have learned so much from looking and talking about Shuvinai Ashoona's work. Now it's time for you to use some of the ways of drawing as inspiration to create an artwork. We can all use the inspiration to create artwork ourselves. So what we're going to look at now is one final Shuvinai Ashoona drawing. And we're going to look at the ways that Shuvinai Ashoona uses her pencil crayons and take inspiration to create our own. After we look at some of the ways she's using her pencil crayons, I'm going to be very brave and do my own drawing for you to watch, and you can watch me draw and see some of the steps that I take, and then you can create. Or if you'd like to draw along, that's fine as well. You can start sketching and thinking about shapes that you notice and see, but don't forget, I'm going to be drawing really fast. Don't feel like you have to keep up. This is just to kind of get your creative ideas flowing and thinking about how we can create artworks inspired by Shuvinai Ashoona. Sound good? Shall we, Erica, take a look at that final artwork by Shuvinai Ashoona? And again, when we look, we can think about who are those characters, what are they doing, and how they're all connected. We can also look for those motifs. So those same things that are being repeated over and over that we've seen in other Shuvinai Ashoona work. So I see a connection just from that last artwork we looked at of, I don't know if anyone else sees one. I see the big polar bear. So let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to think about how Shuvinai Ashoona creates layers and layers of color to kind of give her character's shape. So can you see here on the nose? See where it's darker in some areas and lighter in some areas? Well, that's because she's created layers and layers of pencil crayon, or she's just pushed harder with the pencil crayon to get that thicker, fuller color. And then also look at how she's done the lips here. She's using like a directional stroke. I call it a stroke. When we think of a paintbrush, we think of a stroke, but it's going up and down to give the lips kind of the shape of lips. And even if we look at the chin, it does the same thing, going back and forth to create the shape of the chin. Same with the face, up and down, up and down. You can see also, if we look at, well, any of these characters, if we look at kind of this, looks like a duck, or we see the polar bear there, we see that dark outline. We can also see how in the bottom corner here, it looks like an ear, but it's kind of turned into a duck also. Very interesting. And then again, we see those repeated patterns. Can you see anything repeated over and over and over here? Oh yeah, so we see the strokes again, even on the walrus to kind of give that curve of the walrus's head. Okay, so sometimes getting started with a drawing is the hardest part. I am so glad that, yeah, so Gabby's talking about all the globes that are the repeated pattern again, that motif, absolutely right. Gabriella saying super cool, fantastic. And the person's eyes are globes, Gabriella also noticed as well. So again, repeating those patterns, but in different ways. So we have something that looks like a human, but combined with imagination. So, okay, I'm going to be very brave and I'm going to do a drawing. I've thought a little bit about it, but I wanted to think about, again, who are the main characters, what will they be doing, and how they're all connected. But I also want to take inspiration from Shuvinai Ashoona, thinking, you know what? She just pours imagination right onto her paper. And I'm not even going to use an eraser. I'm just going to draw. So I'm going to take my inspiration from that shape, that nose shape from this artwork that we see. And then I'm just going to keep going and going. All right. Shall we move over to the drawing table? All right. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit, make sure we're ready to go. Can everybody hear me okay?
Mhm.
Aha. I like Tatiana noticed that how Shuvinai Ashoona added textures and the movement like hairs. Okay. Gabby says we're ready. Okay. Wish me luck, everybody. So what I'm going to think about first, I really like that nose shape. Remember I said that? I'm going to kind of create something that looks a little bit more like my nose, maybe, possibly. Then I'm going to think about something from TV. There's a TV show that I like, and the character has one big eye. See how I've drawn right over top of that line? I'm not even worried about that because I know I'm going to fix that later on. So this is a big, it's not even a round eye. It's kind of a funny shape. And then I'll just shade this in really quickly. I'm actually drawing really lightly with my pencil crayon right now. When I do eyes, I usually do a bit of back and forth like this. I'm drawing lightly for a reason. So I have a little bit of a nose here. I'm going to create a little bit of a chin. And then what else? I know I'm going to make some cheeks kind of for my character, maybe connect the cheeks to the bottom. Don't forget I'm going very quickly, so don't feel like you have to keep up. So what I'm going to do now, I kind of would like to add some ears. Does anyone have a suggestion of what kind of ears I could add? While you're thinking about ears, I'm just going to add this other part of the drawing. Maybe a turtleneck, just because I wear turtlenecks all the time. What kind of ears should I add, everybody?
Can I suggest?
You, of course, can suggest.
Snake ear?
What does a snake ear look like? Does anybody know? Oh my goodness. Well, I bet they're small. And I think Erica's thinking about a snake because I'm inspired by tentacles right here. And I kind of made this creature's body into tentacles. See how I'm splitting the tentacles?
Funny ears.
Funny ears? Okay, I like that. I know what those look like at least. I do like your creative response though, Erica. Okay, so I'm going to think of this as the ground. And see how I'm leaving these areas open? I'm leaving them open for possibilities later. But I kind of have this belly. I'm going to create like those suction cups that are on tentacles. But here's another possibility, right? I have the circle. I could create, what could you put that's a circle? Shuvinai Ashoona would maybe use globes, or we could even put emojis. More and more and more we can layer in here. So now I've got to think about, okay, I like this loop around. I want to make my character holding something. See how, again, I've drawn over top of a line? I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm going to think about something from my real life. I'll see if you can recognize what it is. It's something I see every day when I go for a walk, and my son loves them. Anyone can recognize. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. We're just going to do our quick sketch.
Gabriella said dandelions.
Ah, dandelions. So does anyone else see dandelions when they go out for their walk? Something happens to them, don't they? So now I'm thinking about something happening. I'm going to try and figure out how I can draw bunny ears here. Oh my goodness. A little tuft of hair at the top there. I'm going to leave a space there for a minute. Now it's really looking like an imaginary creature. Tuft of hair. Kind of short looking bunny ears, but that's okay. I'm going to think about now, okay, what else can be happening? So what can I use from my imagination to come out of the ears? You know what I'm missing? Some rivers and lakes. I've been really missing being close to the water these days. So I'm going to make a river come all the way out of my creature's ear. Now, this doesn't look too much like a river. It looks like wiggly lines. But maybe I'm going to go in and add some waves. And when I add, so it's going to all transform. Now that I have a river, that also gives me possibilities of things that might jump out of a river, like maybe a little fish. so see, I can add more and more fish. It doesn't even have to look like a fish from real life. This one kind of does. Add a little splash there, some drips of water. Lots of possibilities for details. I want to think again, okay, what is happening here? I kind of have this character. I have some possibilities. I'm going to think about an action. And what I want it to look like is like my character is blowing the dandelions. Because then I want it to, these little dandelion seeds that are coming out, I think they can transform into other things. But I don't really know how to draw lips that look exactly like lips blowing. So you know what? I'm going to do something brave and I'm going to practice right on my drawing. And I thought about, like, you know how emojis sometimes do like a blowing a kiss? It just looks like this, the mouth. I don't think that would really work. Maybe if I do something that's kind of more like lips, like cartoon lips, that's not bad. And kind of like the lips are together and they're blowing from here. That's okay. I'm going to practice again. And you're going to see how this practice, well, that's better. It looks kind of like fish lips, actually. Maybe I'm inspired by my fish. I can transform all these things later on. I kind of like that they're there. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be brave and I'm going to try those lips up here. Turned out okay. Kind of need a little hole here for where the air will come out and maybe some lines there to show the direction. That looks okay. And maybe I can even do some light lines that make it look like that action is happening and blowing the seeds right off the dandelions. And then you know what? I can make the dandelions, maybe later on, they're going to turn into like little people. And maybe they'll turn into more and more detailed people. I'm not going to finish this drawing because I also want to get to a little bit about coloring in. But remember this section down here where I was practicing? What I'm going to do now is just transform these things into something else. So see how I'm pushing harder right on top? I'm going to transform this into a flower. But maybe it's a flower that has feet. That one didn't turn out so great. I'm going to try this one as well. He might go right off the page, thinking about how I can make it look a little bit like a flower and some petals. And I can do the same thing. Maybe I could transform this into, I don't know, it kind of looks like it could be another fish if I gave it some teeth, some fishy lips, and a big fish eye. I think you get the idea there. You can always transform things. And then this would turn into the fish's flipper. This would turn into his belly. And we'll have some things. So he did a really big jump out of that river. But the idea is you can always transform more and more. So now that I've done my light outline, I talked about places like here where I drew right over top of lines. I'm not even going to worry about that. We're now going to move into adding some color. I think I'm going to give my creature a green face. So I'm going to think about those motions again. So if we see a motion here, I'm going to color in that direction. In the nose, I'm going to go down, 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 up and down, up and down. And then at the ball of the nose, I kind of think of like a circle shape. And then I'm going to go up, up, up. So see how it's starting to give a little bit of form to that nose? I'm going to do the same with the chin, kind of like a circle chin shape, go around and around and around. And maybe the same thing with the cheeks, just go around and around and around to quickly get that color in. You're going to have more time, so you can just add more and more and more. Don't forget, you can keep adding to yours all day, all week, as long as you like. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to push harder with my pencil crayon. So see that difference? That dark area and that lighter area? That's going to start to give my character a little bit of, we call it form, or like a little bit of 3D shape. You don't have to do this. This is just something I'm inspired by Shuvinai Ashoona to do. I'm going to do the same down here, do a little bit darker on the bottom. Same with the cheeks. I'm going to do a little bit darker on the side. So see how these are almost starting to look, well, kind of like balls, aren't they? So it's starting to look less and less like something that a human would have. And then like Erica showed us that up and down in the face. I'm going to quickly fill in this area, up and down here. Can you still hear me okay, Erica?
Yeah, Katie just mentioned there is a zero chat because I She thinks they're busy drawing.
Well, that is the idea. I'm excited that there's zero chat. And I'm excited that someone had the great idea to add bunny ears too. So up and down, up and down. And remember, like I said, the idea is not that you create an artwork that looks just like mine or just like Shuvinai Ashoona's. It's that you take an idea, like I started with her nose shape that she used, and then I've made a creature that looks absolutely nothing like what she created. So see where you can see again, I'm same color, I'm just pushing harder in these areas and lighter in other areas. So it's starting to really come to life. So I don't think I need to color this whole thing. You can see where I'm actually leaving some blank spaces. Maybe the bunny ears will be green too. I'm gonna go in the direction of those ears. I still see some lines that I don't really love. I also think it's gonna really help to make this look more like a river when I color it in blue in a minute. So up and down the way of the forehead. And maybe a little bit darker on this side to give us some of that form. Okay, I gotta do this ear over here. I can't help it. Okay, now I'm gonna think about, I'm gonna fill in maybe the eyes, and maybe we'll fill in some of the blue from the river with a different way. Let's do some purple eyes. And like I said, I like to go back and forth like this. Because if you look closely at eyes, that's kind of how the color is. It's never just one solid color. So I'm going to create layers by going back and forth, maybe even using two different kinds of blue. See how you can hardly see that mistake I made? Over and over and over. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to do maybe some red for the eyelids. And then I'm going to fill in the river, and you can see, and then I'm going to do the last step. So I did my outline. I've used the pencil crayons in different ways, light areas, pushing harder to create dark areas. See how dark this red is? I'm pushing really hard with the pencil crayon right now. So I get that nice thick color. And then we'll do a quick kind of look at, since I do love, you know, the way that blue looks, I can create this river by kind of going in, creating waves. And it's going to take a long time to fill this in with just waves like this. So maybe you want to think about just a direction. And so you can go really quickly because it's a river. It's supposed to kind of look messy and like there's movements and splashing and lots of things in the water. And water is never all one color, is it? It's many, many different colors. So, and if I colored in this fish, maybe red to really make it stand out, that would be fantastic too. But something else that I can do as a final step before I let you go and create your own artworks, always make sure you have a pencil sharpener handy while creating with pencil crayon because it goes very quickly. Watch now how I do the outlines to really make the shapes I like stand out. I don't have to outline the whole picture, maybe just the nose is where I started. So I'm going to outline the nose so it stands out. If I outline this part, see how you don't even see anymore where I had that mistake with the lines overlapping? I wouldn't even call it a mistake. It was just part of the process that I changed. So I'm pushing. What's that?
Part of the sketch?
Yeah, like part of the sketch process. The sketch, that's right. So I pushed lightly at first, and you can see the difference between lines here and when I push hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big difference in that outline. And then I can go in and I'd probably color this eye in, but I want to finish up quickly because I want to make sure that you all have any questions answered that you'd like to get your own drawings on the go. I might even go, see over here, I'd probably color this in and then push a little bit harder here. So that overlap, what I wanted to create, that overlap, this line will start to disappear, this line right here. Filled that in with a color. So that outlining is really going to enhance. That means make the shapes stand out. You might even have to go back and forth like I am now to get those really, really thick outlines. But here there's still so many possibilities, so many areas that I have blank that are waiting for a story to be created, right? So like I said, what could these turn into? What could these tentacles loop around and start holding? Could something come in from another side of the drawing to add to the story? So you can fill in the entire white space. I'm not going to do that today because I want you to get a chance to fill in your own work. And like I said, keep building on it and building on it and building on it. And you will have an artwork that tells a story that's inspired by your own real life, creatures from your imagination, as well as Shuvinai Ashoona. I'm going to stop there for a minute because I think you get the picture. But I will show you one more thing that's really cool to do. You can add layers on top of layers with pencil crayon. So see where I'm adding that yellow? You get this really kind of cool blend where that color, it's not flat, it's really coming to life. So I'm going to hop back over here and what everybody think? How we doing?
I think they're busy with the drawings.
Good. I hope you're busy with your drawings, and I hope you keep drawing and drawing and drawing and adding your own ideas. Gabby says you're doing good. Gabriella's doing good. Well, that's what we like to hear. You know what? We feel, Erica and I and the people from Connected North, we feel so honored that you wanted to join us today. And it was so lovely to have this group. You had such great ideas and input. The best part of our job is to get to talk with people, isn't it, Erica, and get responses and answers and new ideas different than our own. So we want to thank you all so much. And oh, do you know what? When you are finally done your drawings, maybe it's later today, maybe it's later this week, maybe who knows how long you want to spend on them, as long as you like. But maybe you want to take a picture and you can post them on the Connected North. So I'm going to leave you to it, as I know you're all busy concentrating and working away. And I want to thank you again for your excellent listening. And I especially want to thank my wonderful co-host, Erica, for always inspiring me. And it's always great to learn and imagine and create along together. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
That was amazing. The kids were so concentrated on there. I couldn't even believe it. They're all sad that it's over.
Amazing sharing of Shuvinai's work. And yeah, the kids are saying, is it over already? Thank you so much. That was just fabulous. And students, we would love to see your work. Absolutely love to see your work. And you know how to share it with us by going to the connectednorth.org/@home website and just scroll to the bottom, take a picture, maybe ask your mums and dads to help you send it to us, and we'll forward it along to Christina and Erica and Susan, because I know they would love to see them. And Gabriella, that's the best comment we've had. Is it over already? Which meant that the time went so fast. So I would love to do another session with you guys, and I'm sure the students would as well. And Gabriella, you can send us those pictures anytime. And I don't know if Katie has any food still, but we would love to see your work. You can send them to us. So everyone, thank you, and absolutely phenomenal to learn so much about Shuvinai and the inspiration for her work. So thanks, everyone.